Back, and we're going to start the open session. We ready? Okay. We're back to open sessions, and we'll start the meeting again. Welcome to the Calexico City Council Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financial Authority open session. It's about 7 p.m. Call to order. Roll call.
Mayor Camilo Garcia,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Javier Moreno,
Here.
Councilmember Gloria Romo, Councilmember Victor Legaspi, Councilmember Lisa Chilena.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. You can just get up and do the pledge of allegiance. Mr. Elena, you can lead us in. Mission statement, Mr. Legaspi.
Mission statement. Together we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico.
Thank you. Closed session announcements, Mr. Attorney?
Yeah. First of all, with respect to closed session, we have a long closed session agenda tonight. We didn't get through it all, but given the fact that folks are waiting, we reconvene into open session. So we're going to go through the open session agenda, and then we're going to reconvene into closed session. But the one action that the council did take in closed session was reconfirming its appointment of Juan Contreras as acting city manager on a 4-1 vote, with Councilmember Romo voting no. So also, with respect to the agenda, this is a special meeting. So on public comment, we only have public comment on items that are on the agenda. So there's no general public comment. So if you could limit your comments to items that are on the agenda, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the City Council, Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, Successor Agency, or Calexico Financial Authority, and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item might be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the City Council. Do I have a motion for to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Camilo Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Javier Moreno,
Yes.
Councilmember Gloria Romo, Councilmember Victor Legaspi,
Yes.
Councilmember Lisa Chilena.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Discussion of potential actions. Items. Number 6, water and sewer rate study presented by the Interim Finance Director and Public Works Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and those present. My name is Liliana Falomir, and I'm the Public Works Manager for the City of Calexico. And tonight, I brought back information that the City Council requested back in June 5th, a little introduction before. Back in, the City of Calexico owns and operates the water treatment plant, the water distribution system, wastewater treatment plant, as well as the wastewater collection. The city's last conducted its water and sewer rates connection fee back in 2018, which began implementation on January 1st of 2019. And it increased the water rates up to July 1st of 2022. The city has identified substantial capital improvement programs for the next 5 years that require funding. The city did a RFP to select a consultant to assist us, a financial consultant to assist us with the water and sewer rates. We approved an agreement with Wilden Financial back in April 5th, 2023. And on June 5th, 2024, Wilden Financial came to the council meeting and presented their findings. But the items was tabled because city council members requested additional information. So I'm here tonight to provide you that additional information that was required during the meeting. The primary goal and objectives of the water and wastewater sewer rate study, again, was to develop the 5-year financial plan, also to provide funding for our current and future operations and maintenance, which includes salary and benefits, material and supplies, repair, maintenance, contracts, and professional services. We also is to fund, the water and sewer rate study is also to fund, increases to fund current and future capital improvement programs, allow the city to have the debt repayment, which is 125%, and also to maintain adequate operating reserves, equitable cost-based rate schedule, and also to address the state's auditor's findings and recommendations. And to do that, we have to go through the Prop 218 compliance. One of the questions that was brought up in June 5th is, what are the factors that are driving our water and sewer rate study? One, of course, is the rising operation cost of equipment, utilities, supplies, the treatment of the water and also our wastewater. In addition, the rising cost of our personnel, which includes all labor cost, benefits, and pensions. Also, again, we have to, as a city, meet the 2020 debt service coverage, and we have to maintain it to be in compliance. Also, this water treatment plant had a violation of Water Shutoff Protection Act by the State Water Resources Control Board. In addition, our wastewater treatment has also 2 violations from the Regional Water Board control. Also, we need to fund our current and future capital improvement projects. Part of the request from council was to see what type of projects have been done since the implementation of the water and sewer rate studies that happened back in 2019. So before you, I have a list of water projects as well as equipment that was purchased with that. We had a lot of equipment in our both water and wastewater treatment plant that were outdated or no longer safe for our employees to use. So we were able to purchase backhoes, mini excavators. We were also able, because of Highway 98 improvements, we needed to abandon and relocate some water lines. So we went ahead and also used the funding to do the design work as well as the construction. In addition, we also did design and construction of replacements of water lines along 2nd Street, Dual Beach Avenue. We were also able, back in 2020, we had issues with our TTHMs. The city, our residents received, I believe it was 3 notices of the high level of TTHM, and we were able to buy aeration system for our East Side Water Reservoir, and luckily we have been in compliant for that. Also recently, the most recent, and we also included that pictures of the pumps that were recently replaced at our water treatment plant on our Facebook. 2 out of the 5 distribution pumps we were able to purchase. They have now been installed. They're energy efficient, and they're not deteriorating anymore. We also, as state requirement, we have to do every 5 years an urban water management plan. And also, we also did the water and sewer rate study. And those are just the water treatment, projects completed. As for the wastewater, we also again purchased equipment that has been deteriorated or no longer in use. We also were able to upgrade the grit chamber. Every 2 years to 3 years, we remove the biosolids. They are transported out of state to Arizona, where in Arizona they can be processed and sold. We also did the design of sewer line replacements on Pauline, on Dual, and also on Beach. We did design and construction. We also purchased plunger plugs for the wastewater treatment plant. We also used money to do the design of our wastewater treatment plant expansion project. The design is already 100% complete. We are just needing funding to do the construction. We also did design of upgrading the lift station 9 and 11. Those are located on Scaroni Road and also include distribution lines as well as sewer lines. The design phase is also 100% completed, but you're looking at a cost estimate for construction about $13 million. Before you, you will find there's a column of the existing water rates. They are currently being, the current rates, and then for the next 5 years for the residents that we would be implementing if council decides to move on and do the public hearing. We have it for 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, and 2029. Also in front of you is the existing and proposed sewer rate studies. You have the existing rates and then the next 5 years. The impacts that if the city doesn't proceed with the water and sewer rates, of course, is that our water plant, treatment plants, our lines, our machinery, our equipment will continue to deteriorate. We will continue to be in non-compliance and continue getting violation notices from both the State Department of Drinking Water as well as the Regional Board for the Wastewater. In addition, as I mentioned before, we won't be in compliance with our 2020 revenue bond because we won't have the 125% that we need. And also, if we don't approve the rates, there's a possibility of reduction in personnel in both the water and the wastewater. Our finance department, we have been working with the budget, and a part of the additional information that was requested, they went ahead and did a mock. You'll see on the information provided that they have what our budget for both our water and our wastewater would look like, both in the operating and the capital improvement project, where if we don't approve the rates, our percentage will be low and we will not be able to meet the 125. And then the next column is that if it is approved, they calculated about 9 months, and we will be in compliance with our debt service. So that's for the water, and then the next one is for our wastewater. What we're asking is, again, to go through the procedure of the Prop 218. If City Council approves it tonight, what we do is we go back and we start the 45-day process. We'll send out the notice to all the property owners as well as the utility billing accounting that are not property owners, but they have account, and set a date for them to come to council and give us their feedback, whether they want it or not, and then it would be up to council to decide whether to implement the water or sewer rates. And that's about it. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Lily. Ms. Palomino, any questions from the council?
So in this report, will it be made public? Because we just got to see this. Will we be able to upload it online as part of the process?
Yes, the fact sheet and everything was posted on the city website.
Perfect.
The PowerPoint presentation is what was created in the fact sheet that is in the background of the agenda.
Yeah, so, and I'm talking about this one because this one's, I'd say, simplified than the giant document, right?
Oh.
So if we could
Yes.
provide this. I do have a couple questions that I would like clarified, in essence for transparency. Factors driving, if you could bring it up here, so we could kind of go through it. Factors driving water and sewer rate study, because I myself have questions on it. Specifically, so the rising operating cost, understandable, personnel costs. I'd like to see, what positions are coming from the water and sewer rates, like what's funded by this increase, as well as the violations of Water Shutoff Protection Act by State Water Resource Control Board. How much of that is going to be included on the increase? So I'd like to see specifics for the violations.
For the effluent, for the wastewater, we have two violations. One is 81,000, the other one is 78, so it's just a total of 159.
And
Those violations, 159,000, and those violations are because we haven't upgraded our plant, so we,
right, so the system is outdated, your sanitation system, right? The ultraviolet lights that sanitize the water. Okay. So, but now this part of this plan, and that's my concern, is we're looking to add on these violations as part of the increase, right? So to pay for them through this, okay. I'd like to also see, if possible, right, the funding current and future capital improvements. I do have questions on which exactly those improvements are, what exactly they are. Like, can you kind of give us a little bit of an idea what those projects are, the capital improvements that'll be funded by this? Because there's a lot of design phases going on, so now that you have the plan, so that's what design means in some of these that are listed in the years. Are those designs to be used now to build?
yes, for example, the lift station, as I mentioned, lift station 9 and 11, it's about $13 million, and that's to actual for construction. Then we have our wastewater treatment plant, which the design phase is completed, and that's about $46 million. Of that, only $20 million has been calculated for this rate study. The other 20, we would have to do some bonding. But also, we have sewer line and manhole replacements for wastewater. So those are the major projects, as well as equipment. As for the water, we need to update our clarifier. We only have one clarifier, water clarifier, so we need a new one. And then we also have water lines that need to be replaced, gate valves. We have motor pumps that are the ones that distribute the water to our community. We also have to replace those. And those capital improvement projects, I don't know if you'll be able to see them during Ms. Interim Finance Director's budget, but they are listed in the proposed budget for 24-25.
Thank you. I do have another question, and I don't know if that's a double team question, maybe with finance, maybe more. Is there other options than including the violations on this increase that we could look at to pay them off? Or what was done historically while you guys were computing the numbers and adding it on to the increase?
Well, for the violations of I can't talk about the water because I have not been involved in that one, but for the violations of the wastewater, what we do is that we meet with the regional board and we provide them projects. So for the 81 that we have right now, currently the funding that is going to be used is going to go towards the new river. So it's going to be a benefit to the new river. Right now we are trying to negotiate for the 78 remaining to see if we can buy equipment that will assist us temporarily while the wastewater treatment plant expansion project, if we go through construction, it can stay within Calexico and not go to the regional board. As for other fundings that we can use, well, I mean, it would be if we're not using enterprise, it would have to be the general fund.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if that's answers your question.
A little bit, yeah, it does. Thank you. Okay. That's all I got.
Anybody else? Public comment?
Raúl Ureña.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to request my accommodations for 4.5 minutes. Thank you. Muy buenas tardes, queridos calesianos. Pues aquí estamos otra vez subiendo el agua a los calesianos el nuevo gobierno. Vieron muy claramente que solamente hay una consejera, una regidora, que tan siquiera tuvo la inteligencia de interpretar lo que está pasando. Esa violación del Water Short-Off Protection Act fue, y aquí está en el sitio web del gobierno municipal, shut-offs y late fees que ocurrieron en el 2020, 21, 22, cuando gobernaba la alcaldesa Rosy Fernández junto a Camilo García. Este alza de agua está pasando por esas, no exclusivamente por esas violaciones, pero también por la falta de preparación del Consejo Municipal anterior, que tuvo 5 años, 3 de esos, bajo Rosy Fernández, bajo Camilo García, bajo otras administraciones, para anticipar la alza de costos operativos, la alza de costo de personal. Ahorita estamos diciendo, no, pues claro que iba a pasar. Claro que esto iba a pasar. Ok, eso lo sabíamos hace 5 años. ¿Y qué hizo la señora Rosy Fernández? ¿Qué va a hacer este cabildo hoy en día, ahorita? Que le prometió al pueblo que esto no iba a pasar, que le prometió mejoras al pueblo, que iban a mejorar la finanza. Ahorita es para que se luzcan el cabildo, que digan cómo le vamos a hacer para que a los calesianos no se les suba el agua. Ya que no lo hicimos en los últimos 5 años, ¿qué vamos a hacer hoy? Este nuevo cabildo radical, este nuevo cabildo del cambio, de las ideas, del progreso. ¿O es el cabildo mudo, que no sabe ni de dónde empezar? Aparte, el Moreno había dicho que las traducciones, pim pum pao, rápido. La comunidad que habla español, que es la mayoría de Calexico, no le entiende, pero sí le van a entender, claro que le van a entender cuando le duplique el agua a los calesianos. ¿Dónde está la transparencia? Espero, dijo el señor García, las soluciones van a venir de la comunidad. Aquí hay mucha comunidad. Ayúdenles a sus regidores a entender el problema y solucionarlo, porque es su trabajo, dijo el alcalde cuando entró. Comunidad soluciona, los regidores y el cabildo no solucionan. Entonces, como decía la Romo, working together. Hay que hacer working together, a ver si lo podemos agarrar bien, en English o en Spanish, como gusten, pero con números.
Next speaker is Patricia Chávez. Patricia Chávez.
Buenas tardes. Yo solo vengo para que me expliquen por qué nos quieren subir de nuevo el agua. O sea, ¿a qué me refiero? Si no están capacitados para estar en esas sillas, no tienen estudio, no están preparados, ¿para qué están? ¿Para qué? Entonces, si les queda demasiado grande la silla, tanto jóvenes, lo miro aquí, como personas ya mayores, entonces ¿para qué están? Yo soy una ama de casa que tengo que mirar los biles que llegan y que me resulta que ahora quieren subir el doble. ¿Cómo está eso? O sea, ahorita los tiempos, vamos uno, ¿es cierto o no? Vamos al mandado y ¿qué pasa? ¿Y ustedes para qué están entonces? Si no tienen la capacidad y no tienen el estudio suficiente para estar en esas sillas, retírese. Retírese. Porque siempre lo que yo he escuchado aquí por años son apellidos, no personas capacitadas. Si no están y si no pueden, mejor váyase. Gracias.
Next speaker is Leticia Cota.
I don't think I'm going to need them, but I'm asking for my 4.
You have them.
Okay, thank you. Leticia Aldana Cota. I'm a little concerned about what I'm hearing, that there's a possibility of raising our water rates. It seems like every so many years, and it seems like it was yesterday I was here about the same topic. Every time it's like, we need to buy this, we need to improve the water plant, we need to do this, and we need to do that. And it appears that the same things have to be done every single time. And I also have a question. Are the water rates going to be, is one of the reasons the lawsuit that the city lost? Because of past administration's wrongdoings? Or shutting off water during COVID? Or charging late charges to people that paid their water bills late during COVID? What the heck? Why is it that the community has to pay for the errors done by those that you select as your officials? You just got rid of somebody that could have solved a lot of these problems. What's going on here? ¿Con qué cabeza están pensando? What is wrong? You guys need to start thinking long and hard. Mr. Camilo, congratulations. You finally got the title you had been seeking forever. But I'd like to see action on your part. I'm going to say to you guys what I've said before. You guys need to remember that you guys do not only represent a certain section of the community. You represent all of us, whether we voted for you or not. This is ridiculous. Downtown is dying, and you blame the 2 young men that were removed. Guess what's going to happen now that you're going to double the water rates? Some of us may be able to pay them. It's going to be hard on our checkbook, but we'll be able to pay them. But what about the rest? You guys need to think long and hard, and you guys better find money, and you better have your new person here start writing grants so you can pay for the money that is owed instead of charging the community. Thank you.
Next speaker is Graciela Batani. Liliana Hernandez.
So, good afternoon. Yes, I have 2 questions on this too. First, it said over there the thing on the violation. Thank you for asking the same that I'm gonna ask. So, part of this is gonna pay for a mistake that the citizens did not do, because that will be the same that if somebody hit my car and I'm gonna have to pay now to the person that hit me. That's not reasonable. The other thing that I'm gonna tell you is 8% per year is increased, a little bit more. I work for the county. My increase per year is 3%, okay? So that means that I'm gonna be 5% below this increase that you are having here. I'm a single woman, I don't have deductibles. That means that I pay 25% for taxes, plus the 8%. That give you 33%. Just tell me, how am I gonna pay the rest of the things? How can I, if, just another example, how much I pay for my insurance on my car? I just have to pay like $2,000 per every six months. So I understand that everything had to be increased because inflation, because economy, whatever the things, but 8% per year to somebody that is not able to get that extra percent on their income is not reasonable. I think if you're gonna do a study on that, take away the violation that is not my fault, or whatever the fault of the people that is here, and do something that is more reasonable. How a business is gonna pay for whatever the increase they're gonna have if they are not selling enough? I understand there is inflation. I understand they need to fix things. I understand that the streets are not well done, and the sewer is a mess, and the water is disgusting. But paying us 52% more for 2029, I'm not gonna be having a 52% increase on my income by then. And if I even have it, the taxes that I'm gonna get are gonna be higher than that, and I'm gonna be quiet until they stop speaking. Thank you. Because I'm quiet normally on the time, and I'm not talking when you're talking. So, is the study going to be done okay, or are you going to ask to the regular citizens, or how is going to be work on this? Because the more that I see the table, the more I don't understand how anybody that have a lower income than myself, that is not a great income, is going to pay for this. So I really, and for sure, I don't understand why I have to pay for the violations that the city did on the past. Whoever was on the city council, whoever was the mayor, that's not important. The thing is that the violation was not made by me, was not made by anybody over here. So please consider that before voting on this. Thank you so much.
Next speaker is Nilda Aguilar. Héctor Mendoza. Gerardo Pelayo. Isabel Ureña.
Buenas tardes otra vez. Ahora sí me da gusto que está siendo grabada estos comentarios, como no lo fueron al principio. Pues reafirmar lo que las personas dijeron, porque es injusto que nosotros los ciudadanos tengamos que pagar por los errores cometidos por las personas que nosotros elegimos para que hicieran su trabajo, porque supuestamente están ustedes capacitados para resolver todo este tipo de problemas. El gran error de correr a esta señora Esperanza Colio es uno gigante, porque ella ahorita con la mano en la cintura tuvieron una solución para todos estos problemas. Están haciendo un grandísimo error y espero que la persona que está aquí presente sustituyendo señor Juan, no tengo el placer de conocer, no conozco su carrera, si tiene estudios, si no, cuál es su rama, pero espero que también con la mano en la cintura tenga soluciones para esto y eduque al cabildo de cómo salir adelante. Y en lugar de que los ciudadanos tengamos que pagar por sus errores, busquen dinero del Estado como quizás Esperanza lo hubiera hecho. Gracias.
Next speaker is Ismael Arbizu.
Buenas tardes, everyone. I'm against this. This is horrendous. Las dos personas que ustedes corrieron, o que la gente corrió, Gilberto Manzanares y Raúl Ureña, son trabajadores. They're working class people. A working class citizen would not approve of this. Those that can pay, which many will have to by your decisions. People stay in Calexico porque quieren estar en Calexico. Se pueden ir al centro, se pueden ir a Brawley. Hay muchas cosas aquí que no tenemos, pero nos quedamos porque es Calexico. Calexico es nuestro hogar. Y este tax que está subiendo, you're kicking out a lot of calecianos by years. Tengo compas que se están yendo para Heber, se van para Yuma porque Calexico no vale la pena. And this is proving a point. This is saying how much you guys want Calexico to be for one side of the community. Fíjate, Camilo, mi tía, que la que fuiste a su casa en the west side, ya no le hablas, ya no estás ahí por ella. Ella puso su banner, tu banner, ahí en 2020, 2022, y con coraje le da verte la cara. She sees you on the newspaper y dice, ¿qué tiene el Camilo? Algo le pasó. He's not with us anymore. Like, estás en otro lado. This tax is horrible because yes, Calexico is destroyed underground. We have really bad infrastructure when it comes to like clay and it's like toxin or whatever. But there's grants, there's infrastructure. We're in California. We're not your money cows. Calexico tiene mucha gente trabajadora, chambeadora. And fíjate, mucha gente vive en los estudios, vive en los garages y tienen que pagar su manera. And this just shows where you're standing in the people. 40,000 people. 40,000 people. El Centro has 43. Look at the disadvantages that we have. We're the most expensive city in the county. ¿Por qué? Porque la gente quiere Calexico. Aquí estamos nosotros. We stay grounded. Y los jóvenes prefieren pagar en San Diego los $12,000, los $1,200, $1,500, $1,600. Because right here, it's not worth it to pay this much. And como dice la señora, I forgot your name, they bring, like the raising of taxes per year is absurd to the amount of like raising of our minimum income, or like the people cannot pay that right now. And 2029, those problems are going to be 10 times bigger and 10 times more. So, en vez de estar buscando a la gente para la feria, go to the state. You just sent back $2 million back to the state. What does that say? You don't care about the money. You just, okay, mándale para allá. Let me see how the people can pay. Let me see how I can just juice them. It's disgusting. I'm sorry. Like, qué vergüenza que tenemos que estar peleando por nuestra agua. Y el IED, fíjate, IED uses 98% of the water of the county. The citizens use 2%. Who should pay for the water?
Thank you.
Keep that in mind.
Thank you. I know this is a tough issue. You know, it's really, it's a difficult decision. And we're not unilaterally just raising the rates of the water. This is being put also on you, and part of the transparency is making sure that you have your say. And that's part of the process also, that there will be hearings. We're not deciding. At least I'm not deciding tonight, and that's not my only job to decide tonight, or this council. It's you also. That's why you had the chance to come over here and express your concerns. So we're not. And then also to whoever comes in and says, you know, tries to be, you know, the one that, you know, wants to save, you know, there were people that were part of the conversations even before, you know, the process went through. So they knew that this was coming. So now to say that we're going to duplicate, that's not correct either. And that's not something that is going to happen either. I mean, you saw the numbers. They're not duplicating. You know, well, you know, again, you know, what you're being told versus, you know, what is there, you know, it's totally different. So let's just stick to the facts. You saw the presentation, the same presentation that you saw, that's what I have. You want to see more backup, here's the backup. I'm not, you know, hiding anything. I'm not hiding from nobody. I'm here to face you. And we're not going to decide just on our own. You guys are going to have a chance. And for that, you know, I move that we start the hearing for Prop 218, so the community can have input. That's what we committed to do, and that's what will, you know, that would be my motion.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something? Sure. Thank you. I'll second that motion. So we're at a situation where everything's gone up. And just a point of reference, what I want to say, before I got elected, I sat in the audience and I didn't agree the way they presented the water rates, the increase. And we went for many, many months of that back and forth. So I learned. And yes, I do listen to you. We have many obligations that we have to pay from, right? But me, I'm at crossroads right now. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I think we need more input from the community. That's what I want, more input. I also, when we have our staff, and even ourselves, we're not qualified in this area, which I'm not. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not qualified. I'm not even a numbers guy, okay? But I listen to people, and for me to make a decision based on information, I want the expert to come here today. I mean, I want the expert the company did the rate study to come here and present to us instead of having a staff who are not qualified. They're basically just reading a PowerPoint. No harm done for them, but I want the expert to be here because we do have those questions. The community has those questions. So we get a better feeling where this is going. It's going to be about $480 in a period of 5 years. They're going to include your water bill. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I will even propose that to look for grants out there to defray some of the expenses that we have to pay. I believe there is money out there. I also want to hear from that. So you don't have to foot the bill. And there's a lot of people in our community who can't afford it. That's the bottom line. And for me, I have tonight to decide where we're going to vote on it. I'm not ready for that. I want more info from the community. I thought we were going to have a town hall meeting. I know it's here on a discussion action on this item is schedule a public hearing to consider updating water services. And we are going to have a town hall meeting on that. I wish we have plenty of town hall meetings until everybody is in line and said we all agree to that. Because it affects everybody. It affects me too because I have to pay the water bill too. So based on that, I hope we do what it says here. The study is there. The numbers are there. Hopefully when we have the town hall meeting that we're going to have those experts to explain to us, be a little bit more, explain to us what are the rates, what are the consequences, how do they arrive to those numbers. So that's my time, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
My understanding of this was Prop 218. A lot of people were coming up here stating that we were going to pay the increase. That was not the point for today. We're going to vote on it. I'm going to vote yes on it, and it's really important, the transparency someone had mentioned, that the 45 days and whatever needs to be added, whatever council person Thailand had mentioned, Lily can add that on what's going to be produced on the 45 days. So like I said, my understanding is we were not going to vote on the increase today. We were going to have it's like a town hall meeting regarding to bringing up the information to you guys. We discuss it and we'll take it from there. That was the understanding. So I'm going to vote yes on it also.
I do have a comment, and it's for the public and staff. Here in the staff report, it says that on April 5th, 2023, the City Council of Calexico authorized City Manager to sign agreement of professional services with Wilden Financial Services, and it says the amount. So since 2023, this study has been going on, and that's why it's being presented, because on that date, when they signed this authorization for the city manager, council knew what was going to come after. You don't pay almost $70,000 to just go do a study for nothing. You go pay $70,000 because you know the study is going to bring back unfortunate information, which means that potentially the rates will have to be increased. And so they look at, any information. They go inside the city. They meet with staff and they talk about any projects that they need that will be funded by the increase. So that's how this is formulated. So on April 5th, 2023, the council up here voted to authorize that study. With that said, and I want to go off of Councilmember Legaspi's statement, what we vote on tonight is to start the 45-day public outreach process. The rates are not going up tonight. Tonight they're not going up. And I'd also like to ask that in this 45-day period, staff coordinates the effort to find a different way to pay for the violations and not include them in this study, which means that they'll have to recompute some numbers potentially. So, yeah.
Yes, and just for clarification, if this item is approved tonight, the set date that we have for the public hearing will be August 21st.
Thank you.
Thank you. So there was a first and a second. Roll call.
Mayor Camilo Garcia.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Javier Moreno.
Yes.
Councilmember Gloria Romo. Councilmember Victor Legaspi.
Yes.
Councilmember Lisa Thailenda.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And just again to clarify, this is not to increase your water rates now. This is to start Prop 218 to have a hearing, so you can understand a little more on the information of what's going on, and any additional information that will be helpful for you to understand what's going on. And then also keep in mind, as you were explained, last week, there is a way that you also can challenge and contest this decision, where this doesn't have to pass with signatures, but you will be actually informed as to how to do that also, which is already available as part of the backup. Thank you. Item number 7, proposed annual budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Interim Finance Director.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and audience. This report, 2024-25 proposed budget, introduces the annual budget. The 24-25 budget continues to support fiscal objectives from city's strategic plan adopted by the City Council on September 15, 2021. As stated in the strategic plan, this budget prioritizes Calexico's fiscal responsibility to ensure its sustainability into the future. Este informe presenta el presupuesto anual para el año fiscal 2024-25. El presupuesto continúa respaldando los objetivos fiscales del plan estratégico de la ciudad adoptado por el Consejo Municipal el 15 de septiembre de 2021. Como se indica en el plan estratégico, esto prioriza la responsabilidad fiscal de Calexico para garantizar su sostenibilidad en el futuro. The 2024-25 citywide budget proposes annual expenditures of $167 million. This includes general fund operating expenditures of $22 million, enterprise and other operations of $19 million, debt service of $4 million, and a capital improvement program of $120 million. El presupuesto de la ciudad para 2024-25 propone gastos anuales de 167 millones. Esto incluye gastos operativos del Fondo General por 22 millones, operaciones empresariales y de otro tipo por 19 millones, servicio de las deudas por 4 millones y un programa de mejoras de capital por 120 millones.
Budget highlights. General Fund 22 million. 2024-25 budget is balanced and preserves a 4 million reserve. Revenues continue modest upward trend. Departments requested $5 million in new expenditures. Budget adds 1 FTE. Most other operating requests are being deferred. 2.5 million capital request funded from other sources. Other programs, Measure H includes new general fund and capital support. Water and wastewater funds include fee increases for bond compliances and capital programs. A critical element of the budget outside of the general fund include proposed rate increases for the water and wastewater program. The proposed water and wastewater rates maintain the city's compliance with a 2020 revenue bond debt coverage covenants and provide the cash flow to support the important plant and capital infrastructure for these essential city services. Capital program, 120 million. 25 million for street projects, 24 million new river, with a 12.5 million with new grants. 25 million wastewater plant phase 1, and 1 million for a fire apparatus. Aspectos destacados del presupuesto. Fondo general, 22 millones. El presupuesto de 2024-25 está equilibrado y conserva una reserva de 4 millones de dólares. Los ingresos continúan una modesta tendencia a la alza. Los departamentos solicitaron 5 millones en nuevos gastos. El presupuesto añade una posición y la mayoría de las demás solicitudes operativas se aplazarán. Solicitudes de capital de 2.5 millones de dólares financiadas con otras fuentes. Otros programas, la medida H incluye nuevo fondo general y apoyo de capital. Los fondos de agua y aguas residuales incluyen aumentos de tarifas para programas de capital y cumplimiento de bonos. Un elemento crítico de los presupuestos fuera del fondo general incluye los aumentos de tarifas propuestos para los programas de agua y drenaje. Las tarifas propuestas de agua y drenaje mantienen el cumplimiento por parte de la ciudad de los convenios de cobertura de deuda de los bonos de ingresos de 2020 y proporcionan el flujo de efectivo para respaldar importantes plantas de infraestructura de capital para estos servicios esenciales de la ciudad. Programa de capital 120 millones. Proyectos de calles con valor de 25 millones de dólares. 24 millones Río Nuevo con un subvenio nuevo de 12.5 millones. Planta de agua residuales de 25 millones, fase 1 y aparato contra incendios con valor de $1 millón. The combined General Fund Measure H Fund balance reserve is projected at approximately $4 million at June 2025. Strong sales tax results in 2023-24 have increased the combined reserve balance ahead of the 23-24 budget plan of June 30, 2024. This 23-24 surplus is recommended for investment in deferred capital equipment replacements in 24-25, resulting in a dip in the 24-25 reserve while still maintaining an approximate $4 million target balance. La reserva combinada del saldo de fondos generales y de la medida H se proyecta en aproximadamente 4 millones en junio de 2025. Los sólidos resultados del impuesto sobre las ventas en 2023-24 han aumentado el saldo de reserva combinado antes del plan presupuestario del 23-24 al 30 de junio del 24. Se recomienda el superfit para inversiones en reemplazos diferidos de capital, equipo en el 24-25, lo que resultará en una caída de la reserva para el 24-25 y al mismo tiempo se mantendrá un saldo objetivo aproximado de 4 millones. General Fund Revenues. General Fund revenues are substantially derived from property and sales taxes. When combined with Measure H, property and sales tax comprise 70% of the city's unrestricted revenues. Combined General Fund and Measure H revenues have increased by over $4 million, 23% over the last 4 years. The city's current budget limitations are not due to stagnant or declining revenues. Los ingresos del Fondo General se derivan sustancialmente de los impuestos a la propiedad y las ventas. Cuando se combinan con la medida H, los impuestos a la propiedad y las ventas representan el 70% de los ingresos no restringidos de la ciudad. Los ingresos combinados del Fondo General y la medida H han aumentado en más de 4 millones, un 23%, en los últimos 4 años. Las limitaciones presupuestarias actuales de la ciudad no se deben a ingresos estancados o en disminución. General Fund expenditures by type. General Fund expenditures are substantially used to pay for employee salaries, benefits, helpers' pension funding, and retiree medical payments, combined with a 77%. While the remainder is for operating expenditures, including materials, maintenance, contracts, insurance, and office cost. Los gastos del Fondo General se utilizan sustancialmente para pagar los salarios de los empleados, los beneficios, los fondos de pensiones de CalPERS y los pagos médicos de los jubilados, combinado un 77%. Mientras que el resto se destina a gastos operativos que incluyen materiales, mantenimiento, contratos, seguros y costos de oficina. General Fund expenditures by program. Of the General Fund operating expenditures of $22 million, the proposed budget allocates 63% of available revenues to public safety. Gastos del Fondo General por programa. De los gastos operativos del Fondo General del 22 millones, en el presupuesto propuesto asigna el 63% de los ingresos disponibles a la seguridad pública. The proposed general fund budget balances expenditures within available revenues, which is necessary to preserve the city's fund balance reserve. However, departments have identified an additional $5 million in staffing, operating, and capital expenditures that are not included in the proposed general fund budget. Approximately half of these requests have been funded through one-time reserves or other fund revenues outside of the general fund, and approximately half are deferred until new sustainable revenues are available. The following chart demonstrates the fiscal impact of the new budget along with the fiscal impact if all new department program requests were implemented with the general fund. The Measure H budget includes a one-time draw on accumulated reserve to fund a portion of the general fund capital equipment requests. El presupuesto del Fondo General propuesto equilibra los gastos dentro de los ingresos disponibles, lo cual es necesario para preservar la reserva del saldo de fondos de la ciudad. Sin embargo, los departamentos han identificado 5 millones adicionales en gastos en personal, operativos y de capital que no están incluidos en el presupuesto propuesto del Fondo General. Aproximadamente la mitad de estas solicitudes se han financiado mediante reservas únicas o otros ingresos de fondos fuera del Fondo General, y aproximadamente la mitad se deferirán hasta que estén disponibles nuevos ingresos sostenibles. El siguiente cuadro demuestra el impacto fiscal del nuevo presupuesto junto con el impacto fiscal si todas las solicitudes de nuevos programas departamentales se implementaran dentro del Fondo General. El presupuesto de la medida H incluye un retiro único de las reservas acumuladas para financiar una parte de las solicitudes de capital y equipo de Fondo General. General Fund staffing trend. The following chart shows the general fund authorized staffing trend since 2015. The 2024-25 budget proposes one net new general fund position for the school's resource officer. The city and the school district resumed this program during 2023-24, and this action adds the position to support the existing service. Program departments have submitted requests for an additional 19 general fund positions to improve city services levels. However, this staffing level is not feasible with current revenues and benefit obligations. Tendencia de personal de Fondo General. El siguiente cuadro muestra la tendencia de la dotación de personal autorizada del Fondo General desde el 2015. El presupuesto del 2024-25 propone un nuevo puesto neto de Fondo General para el oficial de recursos escolares. La ciudad y el distrito escolar reanudaron este programa durante el 23-24 y esta acción agrega la posición para respaldar el servicio existente. Los departamentos de programas han presentado solicitudes para 19 puestos adicionales del Fondo General para mejorar los niveles de servicios de la ciudad. Sin embargo, este nivel de dotación de personal no es factible con los ingresos actuales y las obligaciones de beneficios. General fund departments have requested approximately $5 million in new general fund spending, including $1.9 million for new positions. While the proposed budget does not include one-time funds to address deferred equipment replacements, new positions and service improvements can only be added with ongoing new revenues to maintain these services. The city can best achieve its general fund 5-year operating plan and reserve target by maximizing and implementing its revenues opportunities. Los departamentos del Fondo General han solicitado aproximadamente 5 millones en nuevos gastos del Fondo General, incluidos 1.9 millones para nuevos puestos. Si bien el presupuesto propuesto incluye fondos únicos para abordar los reemplazos de equipos diferidos, solo se pueden agregar nuevos puestos y mejoras de servicios con nuevos ingresos continuos para mantener estos servicios. La ciudad puede lograr mejor su plan operativo de 5 años y su objetivo de reserva del Fondo General, maximizando el implementado de sus oportunidades de ingresos. General Fund Budget Request, Capital One-Time Items. General Fund departments have requested approximately 2.6 in capital one-time items, in which, with combination of local capital fund, impact fees, Measure H, and ARPA funding, 2.1 are being proposed to be funded, leaving $536,500 in deferred. Los departamentos del Fondo General han solicitado aproximadamente 2.6 en partidas únicas de capital, en las cuales, con una combinación de fondo de capital local, tarifas de impacto, medida H y financiamiento por ARPA, se propone financiar 2.1, dejando 536,500 en diferidos. long operating debt. Pension and retiree medical benefits have growing annual cash flow requirements that constrain the city's ability to sustain and grow services levels. The general fund cash flow for these payments are growing by approximately $300,000 per year. The city has accumulated an unfunded pension and retiree medical obligations that have been earned by employees in prior fiscal years. These benefits face growing annual cash flow requirements that constrain the city's ability to sustain existing services levels and crowd out the ability to add new staffing. The CalPERS pension payments will increase annually as CalPERS faces in the cost of recent investment losses over the next 5 years. The general fund share of pension and retiree medical costs are projected to increase from $3 million to over $4 million during the next 5 years. During 2022-23, the city took action to establish an OPEB Section 115 trust designed to lower the long-term cost of retiree medical costs by investing current funds and generating investment income to pay for future benefits, similar to the CalPERS pension structure. The proposed budget includes incremental funding to amortize the OPEB funded liability as a level percentage of payroll, including the cash benefit payments over the next 30 years. Las pensiones y los beneficios médicos para jubilados tienen requisitos crecientes de flujo de efectivo anual que limitan la capacidad de la ciudad para mantener y aumentar los niveles de servicio. El flujo de efectivo del Fondo General para estos pagos está creciendo en aproximado $300,000 por año. La ciudad ha acumulado pensiones no financiadas y obligaciones médicas para jubilados que han sido acumuladas por los empleados en años fiscales anteriores. Estos beneficios enfrentan requisitos crecientes de flujo de efectivo anual que limitan la capacidad de la ciudad para mantener los niveles de servicio existentes y desplazan la capacidad de agregar personal nuevo. Los pagos de pensiones de CalPERS aumentarán anualmente a medida de CalPERS incorpore gradualmente el costo de las pérdidas de inversiones recientes durante los próximos 5 años. Se proyecta que la participación del Fondo General en los costos médicos de pensiones y jubilados aumentará de 3 millones a más de 4 millones durante los próximos 5 años. Durante el 2022-23, la ciudad tomó medidas para establecer un fideicomiso de la sección 115 de la OPED diseñado para reducir el costo a largo plazo de los costos médicos y los jubilados mediante la inversión de fondos actuales y la generación de ingresos por inversiones para pagar beneficios futuros, similar a la estructura de pensiones de CalPERS. El presupuesto propuesto incluye financiamiento incremental para amortizar el pasivo no financiado de OPEB como un porcentaje nivelado de la nómina, incluidos los pagos de beneficios en efectivo durante los próximos 30 años. General Fund 5-year projection plan, including Measure H. As we look ahead over the next 5 years, annual payments for retiree pension and medical care are projected to increase from current payments of $3 million per year to over $4 million per year, and consume up to 70% of projected general fund revenues, which limits the city's ability to improve the base level of city services expected by the city's residents. Projected 5-year general fund revenue growth falls short of anticipated expenditure growth. As in prior year budgets, the 5-year forecast is sustainable only with new revenue growth, such as new development and tax base. The longer-term general fund forecast relies upon new annual development revenues growing from $0.9 million to $1.9 million over the next 5 years to sustain current operations and staffing. The increasing 5-year revenue requirements are primarily due to the $1 million plus growth in annual CalPERS payments over this period to amortize unfunded pension cost. The proposed budget includes resources to focus on planning, engineering, and building operations to maximize revenue opportunities, including an updated development fee study. Si proyectamos hacia los próximos 5 años, los pagos anuales por pensiones de jubilados y atención médica aumentarán de los pagos actuales de 3 millones por año a más de 4 millones por año y consumirán hasta el 17% de los ingresos proyectados del Fondo General, lo que limita la capacidad de la ciudad para mejorar el nivel básico de los servicios municipales esperados por los residentes de la ciudad. El crecimiento proyectado de los ingresos del Fondo General a 5 años no alcanza el crecimiento previsto del gasto. Como en los presupuestos de años anteriores, la previsión a 5 años solo es sostenible con un nuevo crecimiento de los ingresos como una nueva base impositiva para el desarrollo. El pronóstico a largo plazo del Fondo General depende de que los nuevos ingresos anuales por desarrollo crezcan de 0.9 millones a 1.9 millones durante los próximos 5 años para sostener las operaciones y la dotación de personal actuales. Los crecientes requisitos de ingresos de 5 años se deben principalmente al crecimiento de más de 1 millón en los pagos anuales de CalPERS durante este periodo para amortizar los costos de pensiones no financiados. El presupuesto propuesto incluye recursos para centrarse en las operaciones de planificación, ingeniería y construcción para maximizar las oportunidades de ingresos, incluido un estudio actualizado de tarifas de desarrollo. The proposed capital program invests $120 million into the community through over 60 capital projects. The 5-year capital program totals $183 million. Funding is from water, wastewater bonds, customer fees, grants, and development fees. These projects support City Council objectives of maintaining and improving the key infrastructure and facilities of the city. The most significant project updates in this capital program are $12.5 million in 2 new state grants that add to the existing New River Improvement Program. El programa de capital propuesto invierte 120 millones en la comunidad a través de más de 60 proyectos de capital. El programa de capital de 5 años asciende a $183 millones. La financiación proviene de bonos de agua, aguas de drenaje, tarifas de clientes, subvenciones y tarifas de desarrollo. Estos proyectos apoyan los objetivos del ayuntamiento de mantener y mejorar la infraestructura y las instalaciones clave de la ciudad. Las actualizaciones de proyectos más importantes en este programa capital son 12.5 millones en 2 nuevas subvenciones estatales que se suman al programa existente de mejora del Río Nuevo. The calendar and the next steps. We have tentatively put on the agenda for the 17th and the 18th to be budget workshops if the council requests them. And we have also put on the agenda for budget adoption on a special meeting on June 26th. For the first quarter report, we have it for November 6, 2024, and then we will give you the sales tax revenue for June 30, 2024 quarter, and the first draft of 23-24 year-end results. Los siguientes pasos es si el concilio lo desea, podemos tener talleres del presupuesto el 17 y 18 de junio. Y tenemos agendado en una agenda especial para adoptar el presupuesto el 26 de junio. El reporte del primer trimestre 24-25 lo tenemos agendado para el 6 de noviembre. Y resultados de impuestos sobre las ventas de trimestre del 30 de junio de 2024 y el primer borrador de resultados de fin de año 2023-24 igual serían el 6 de noviembre. At this point, I would like to thank staff, managers, and departments because it was a struggle with this budget. Once we had an acting finance chief, he left, but all the rest captains helped. Public Works with all her stuff that she has. I mean, library, recreation, with all being short-staffed, they all participated, contributed back and forth, and this is why it is possible for me to present this budget. And if you have any questions.
Any questions from the council?
I do. I want to say thank you to staff also. With that said, in the budget workshops, could you kind of give us an idea of how they're going to be presented or what they'll consist of? Because I'm interested in having all the departments present their wants, because I know that there's a section where in the presentation it outlines the asks from the departments, but then there's another slide that also outlines that there was $5 million worth of asks, and I personally would like to hear all $5 million worth of asks and see what we're, where we're at in terms of each department, so that we can plan for the future and get that feedback, because it's required. So would we have that participation in the workshops?
Yes, each department, each manager, department head would do their own presentation, and they'll be bringing your ask. Like you said, it was $5 million, but if I was to bring the actual first list that they provided, it would be a lot more than that. But they know how the city is, so we kept going back and forth. If we would do these workshops, I'm pretty sure they'll bring more than $5 million to you.
I want to hear it all.
Yes, so I have a tentative schedule for the 17th and 18th, and they will do their own presentations. I don't know if you want me to, I have the 17th, I had planned for police, library, and recreation, because police has 3 departments he would be talking, then library and recreation, they're on their own. On June 18, I was planning for city manager, fire, and public works, because public works has a lot of departments. So I would want to give public works enough time for her to present. Is that fine with you?
I do have a question. What about finance, city clerk, and planning and building?
Planning and building, the director won't be here at that time. He won't be in that, so that's why I hadn't put him. City clerk falls under the city manager, and the finance, well, I just presented the whole budget, and I can't ask for nothing because.
Okay.
So city clerk falls city manager. So city manager would prepare.
All right. Would it be possible to have representation even from the departments that are absorbed by other departments or don't have representation? Would you be able to, talk with staff for the building and planning?
About planning.
Yeah.
But Francisco won't be here. Yeah. So I don't know who would be able to do that.
Okay, I can reach out to him and.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
And most likely we would put it on June 17th in that case.
Okay.
Just one real quick question. Thank you, Sandy, for the report. Appreciate that. Thanks for the staff also. It's a lot of work. On top of our head, how much do we get on leases for in terms of revenue for that?
I don't have that. I can bring it for
Because I know we have property we lease out. For example, the construction we're about, they lease some of the property over there too. So, okay.
I can bring that to you.
Thank you.
Questions?
No, again, thank you, staff. I mean, you guys are the stars. I mean, you guys have done an outstanding job in putting this together. And I know it took a lot of work. So thank you all for doing it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you again also to everyone that was involved in presenting this draft budget. I know I have always said it, it's the needs and the wants, but actually all of these are needs, and not just wants. But this is a real, clear snapshot. This is not something that, this council is just barely, creating. This has been throughout. So it is really important that we have these workshops, and not just the workshops, but we prepare strategies as to how we're going to be sustainable. Because what's really, concerning is that we depend a lot on one-time monies, or also, bond measures that, what's going to happen when they expire. And I think that has been the strategy that even, in the last few months has been talked about. Let's put another bond measure to solve our problems. So we know that that's not the solution, because based on this report that you're providing, that all of you put together, staff, that's not the sustainability. It's really going back to being self-sustaining, being active, being, economic development driven. That again, just a few months ago, a year plus, that was disbanded. That department was disbanded. So now we don't have that option. But we can actually work on strategizing. That's part of the workshops, where everybody's going to have input. Unfortunately, also the availability of funds, based on this, is not that great. So we're going to have to, make those decisions. But again, thank you for the time, and thank you for the effort put by everybody putting this together. Do we have any public comments on this?
Raúl Ureña.
Muy buenas noches, querido Cabildo. I'll ask for my accommodations of 4.5 minutes. That's 8:19. Pues a ver, si todo lo que vamos a decir es thank you, vámonos a trabajar a Little Caesars, porque allá eso es suficiente. Aquí se tiene que hablar de números, se tiene que hablar de propuestas. En el 2022 hubo una auditoría del Estado que le dijo a este cabildo que todo lo financiero, que la parte de la corrupción de Calexico, dice el Estado de California, es que no se presentan las actualizaciones en inglés y español. ¿Dónde se va a traducir todo lo que dijo Moreno, Thailinda, hasta el thank you, que se haga gracias tan siquiera? Dijo Moreno en la última junta, traductores de volada, baratos. El recall dijo traductor, ¿dónde están? Si apenas prendieron las cámaras, ¿cuánto les costó no tener las cámaras para que el pueblo no supiera lo que le hicieron a Esperanza Colio? ¿Qué dice Juan Contreras sobre el presupuesto? Están pagándole a Esperanza todavía su salario para tener la falta de personal. Lo acabo de decir finanzas. ¿Cuánto le costó poner este presupuesto si una líder verdadera como Esperanza? Yo me voy a dar la tarea de hablar con el Estado, que miren esta junta y que miren que no les están presentando lo del agua y las finanzas en español, a ver qué opinan, y que no están traduciendo sus comentarios al español como se les requiere, como se les recomienda por el Estado. Camilo, cuando tú entraste a la alcaldía, dijiste, no, pues, porque tuviste un presupuesto el primer día que entraste, tú dijiste, vamos a aprobarlo, voy a esperar a mi equipazo, Thailinda y Legazpi, ya está el equipazo. ¿Dónde están las propuestas? If we can go to slide 5, please, expenditures. La única, if we can go to slide 5, expenditures. Ok, está bueno. ¿Dónde están los de la medida H? El crecimiento de este presupuesto es que le van a robar más le van a robar al impuesto que es para policías, para bomberos, para recreación. ¿Dónde están los de la medida H? ¿Cuántos más policías van a salir de este presupuesto? ¿Cuántos más bomberos? ¿Cuántas calles van a arreglar? Ese 17 y ese 18 yo voy a estar ahí pero calladita, porque quiero ver a la Noricumbo, quiero ver a la Maritza, quiero ver a la comunidad que se paró aquí, a Legazpi que dijo, los policías llegando, a ver cómo le van a hacer. A ver cómo le van a hacer. ¿Dónde está esta negociante, la comerciante, la tax preparer, la alcaldesa de 20 años? Quiero ver si con tanta cabeza pueden materializar una propuesta para las calles, para los policías. Ya sabemos lo que ocupamos. Economic Development, para que tú sepas, Camilo, $5 millones a la tasa actual de impuestos es incrementar las ventas en Calexico 57,142,857 dólares con 14 centavos. ¿Cuál empresa de esa magnitud tú vas a traer aquí para ese déficit? ¿Cómo le vamos a hacer? No tenemos ni la menor idea. La vamos a tener hoy, quizá mañana, vamos a dormir, tiene que haber otro miembro del cabildo. Tú dijiste que llegando estos dos iba a haber propuestas. Ok, que a lo mejor con la comunidad, ok, a ver si con la comunidad podemos calentar los cerebritos. Si para el 26 no hay una propuesta y la única propuesta fue quitar la esperanza con maldad, ¿cómo le van a pagar para correr a la esperanza? Ni ese dinero, le han calculado que ese dinero no lo tienen. O sea, ¿cómo le van a hacer? ¿Cuándo van a empezar a leer sus papelitos? Yo sé que los leen, pero la interpretación, el critical thinking, como se llama en English, para que todos sepan, hace falta. Where are the proposals? Where's the recall? Where are the people of the recall? Where are they speaking? I thought we were going to come to solutions and proposals, and we can't even interpret the most basic concepts in an annual budget. Ahorita es cuando, a ver los policías, a ver los bomberos, a ver las calles. ¿Vamos a arreglar Calexico? Parece que no. Gracias.
Next speaker is Graciela Bertoni.
Good afternoon, City Council members. Good afternoon, everybody, citizens of Calexico. As a concerned citizen, I'm here today to advocate against the questionable actions that you as a city, the city councils, have taken regarding the budget. I want you guys to look behind you, and this is what you guys pledge. We can't see it behind the screen, but this is what you guys pledge every time we have a city council meeting. And it is to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. This isn't happening. Was there enough money to at least record your shameful action regarding Esperanza Colio? Was it in your what's your financial plan now that Ms. Colio's not here? What was she doing wrong? Well, there was money to hold a recall, right? There was money for special meetings, like the one we're having today. Not to record them, however. There wasn't any money to hold an election and give a voice and choice to the people regarding the 2 new appointed council members. Quoting you, Mr. Moreno, we don't have money for that. Leading to then appointing 2 new council members after only asking 2 questions and no background checks. There was money to fire Ms. Colio, like Mr. Ureña mentioned right now. That's going to take a lot. That's going to take our city's money to fire her. How is there money for everything that is only inconvenience to you and not for the people you serve? Javier not being a numbers guy is also very concerning. How is he working with budgets then? What you're doing is shameful, unfair, and an embarrassment to Calexico and their citizens. The only trans you seem to acknowledge, apart from being transphobic, is your lack of transparency. I urge you to do better and listen to the citizens of Calexico. Now, are you going to answer these questions to the citizens? Or are you going to hide behind the power or under your puppet strings? Thank you.
Next speaker is Ismael Arvizu.
Buenas tardes, everyone. Buenas noches, actually. This budget, like last person was commenting, does it have Esperanza Colio's salary of $181,000 per year till 2027? We hired Esperanza Colio 2022, 5 years. We gave him 5 years. and we didn't even give her a chance to finish halfway through her term. This damages the budget. Even though, sure, we can't talk about the comments, we can't talk about items that are not in the special meeting, but this budget must include about the decision that was just made behind doors of removing Esperanza from her role. Esperanza was the only Esperanza, literally, in the council after Gilberto and Raul were kicked off. You were like, hey, at least Esperanza can do the job, right? Y todo respeto a the new interim, but experience doesn't come in an instance, right? And it's a shame that we got the Rio Nuevo, we got so many projects going along, and this budget is a massive one. We're always working with more, yet we're still in the same spot. There's no good drinking fountains out here. There's no restrooms. There's no infrastructure for the community that actually uses Calexico. Like, we always hide the whole Calexico, Viva Calexico, behind this white screen. And it says, we said it, a unique border community. What your decisions are showing through Esperanza's dismissal is that you're just following recall wants. The recall group wanted to kick out Esperanza, ya pasó, you know? And I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of thing. And it's disturbing how we have to function as a city knowing that there's people up here that don't know how to use these numbers or see these numbers. And the city has to digest these numbers in some way. And we have to interpret it in the best way possible. Hey, they're just using the money a lo loco. Están haciendo, mira, the library does need a lot of money, investments, yes, but there's grants. The budget, it's cut into so many tiny things. We don't even give the basic resources our community needs. Parks still don't have restrooms. Parks are still incomplete after 10 years, 20. Y pues da vergüenza estar en Calexico. So yeah, like this budget, sadly, we're working, like we heard Ms. Palomita saying how, oh, everyone had to scramble and find a way to build this budget. Thank you. The staff has to work 3 times the amount that they were working before because Ms. Esperanza Colio got kicked out. It's discouraging. 2 years ago, ustedes estaban aplaudiendo, le dieron flores, tenía como 50 bouquets of flowers from a lot of the recall people también, y aquí ya se nos fue todo. Thank you so much. Make the right choice. You did the wrong one, I guess.
Next speaker is Joanna Espinosa.
Hello, buenas tardes, hola. Mi nombre es Joana Espinosa. Estoy hablando como residente de aquí de Calexico. I'm talking as a resident from Calexico. I've lived here my whole life. Moved away for a certain period of time if you want to look at records and stuff, but I live here now. So I want to just bring up the fact that you guys have 4 days before the budget workshops to do some research, to talk to people, and I want to bring up just some suggestions that I have from my own experience. So one is the infrastructure, our roads, our sidewalks, just access to restrooms and to drinking fountains. It's an issue that we've had, and like it's really embarrassing, and it's horrible that we have triple digits every day of the week, and you know we're one of the hottest spots in California, and like we don't have water. We don't have a restroom that people can go into, at least like wet their bags or something to get to where they have to be. Meanwhile, they find AC or something. And I'm not talking only about the unsheltered population, but I'm just talking about us. People that, you know, if we want it, we have an address, we have a residence, but we still have to get places, we have to get to work, we have to go to school. It's hot out there. So it's something that y'all should definitely have at the top of your list. Another thing is the food distribution for a lot of the low-income population and senior population. The location has been moved a couple times, specifically the food distribution from the San Diego Food Bank. I don't know if y'all are aware of this, if you have any family members or you just have, you know, had the time to look at that, but they're trying to relocate it. So if you can invest some time in that and see how the budget can be applied into that, to develop a stable place that's accessible to everyone. Some of the people that, you know, go pick up the food don't have the physical ability to even carry the things or to walk the distance that they have to walk there.
And, you know, we have to rely on ride sharing or just the public transport. So in order for a perfect location to be found for that, we need to spend time looking into it. So talk to people, talk to me. My mom is one of the people that receives that aid and depends on that food aid. So just do your research. Like one of them is has been in front of on 3rd Street. If I'm not mistaken, it's on 3rd Street. It was right in front of the Catholic Charities shelter, was the previous location. Right now they're at the Calexico theater at the movies. So again, like if you go look at that, the pavement is really messed up. People can fall, people can trip. It's a really far away location. Like it's all the way to the highway. Like people that are spread across Calexico, you know, it's not an accessible location at all. So if we can do something more centric, like parks, just things that are more accessible. And if we're gonna look at parks, like look at the pavement too. Because for example, at the Kennedy Gardens, like I've seen senior people like trip and fall because of the sidewalk. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
So we'll bring it back to this council. So it was just a presentation, so we'll have the workshops. Thank you. Now we move to item number 8. Approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Calexico, California, determining and levying the special tax in Community Facilities District number 2005-1, Hearthstone, Interim City Finance Director. So you can provide some feedback on that and some report.
Hi, good evening once again. A little background on the information of the CFD 2005 Hearthstone. The CFD was established on January 8, 2005. A resolution was adopted for the intention to establish the CFD Hearthstone. On September 20, 2005, a resolution was approved for the formation of the CFD. The CFD consists of approximately 75 taxable acres. The long-term financing bond issued. The CFD issued a long-term financing bond on July 12, 2006, in the amount of $14,710,000, with a maturity date of September 2036. The proceeds were primarily used to finance the cost of acquisition and construction of authorized facilities within the CFD limits. Annual parcel levy. Each year, the City Council approves a parcel levy to provide the cash flow to pay the annual debt service on the bonds and also to provide for current public safety services. Property owners pay this parcel levy with their property taxes into the county. The county distributes the remittance to the city. Receipts are restricted for use by the district. The annual special tax requirement for the fiscal year 2024-25 property levy is over $1 million. This is calculated by a third-party rate expert accordance with the RMA methodology approved with the formation of the CFD. The levy currently provides for debt service and public safety services only. Incomplete development. The Hearthstone project was designed to develop 457 single-family residential units. As of March 1st, 2024, building permits have been issued for 240 total taxable units of residential properties, or approximately half of the planned development. Delinquencies. CFD property assessments on the undeveloped parcels are delinquent. As a result, the district's annual cash flow is unable to fully support the annual debt service on the bonds. Each year, the city pays debt service on the bonds up to the available cash in the district. In recent years, interest on the bonds have been paid, but the bond principal payments are delinquent. The cash flow shortage impacts the bondholder payments. As a separate district, the city does not backfill the CFD debt services shortages. As CFD administrator, the city is obligated to pursue delinquencies on the delinquent parcels that could lead to foreclosure of those homes and/or property. The city has made foreclosure efforts in the past and will continue to do so in the future. As administrator, as the city is the administrator of the CFD, the city has a duty to the bondholders to approve the levy and to continue to pay annual debt service up to the amounts collected for the district. The city would be subject to bondholder litigation and risk negative credit rating impacts if it did not perform this annual administrative task to approve the annual parcel levy. With that said, I come here with a recommendation for the council to approve the CFD levy for the Hearthstone. I don't know if you have any questions or...
Questions? I know you had some questions at
Yes.
the past meeting.
So, I don't know what questions you'll be able to explain. This document was prepared by a consultant, a third-party consultant, and they're very technical documents, but you did an awesome job at explaining the history and what happens, you know, why we need to approve it. But with that said, what happens if we don't approve it? If you could just specifically...
If you don't approve it, that $1+ million, it would come from the city. The
Okay.
city would be obligated to pay this.
Okay.
It's $1,037,009 for fiscal year 24-25.
Now, maybe you'll... I have faith in you, Miss Sandy. You're awesome. So, what happens if... okay, so we've already answered the question, what happens if we don't approve the levy? Project money. So there's different accounts as to what's collected and then they're, you know, siphoned out to different categories. Right now, for projects, how much is in that account? Yeah, I saw it. Now, to answer what can be done, it's specifically outlined in the CFD. Now, how is it decided the money that's siphoned out into that list? Is it a percentage?
It's by the percentage and by what it's been developed.
Okay, yeah, the 200 and some houses versus what it was originally approved for, 400 and some.
Yes. For example, even for the safety, it's done by a percentage. It's not just a number.
Yeah. Now, in order to, you know, levying the tax is one thing, but if the city wants to create a plan to finish the development in terms of like the offsite improvements, what the CFD goes after, would that take additional timing with the consultant for them to create a plan?
I would have to ask the consultant.
Okay, all right. That's all I have for right now.
You know what, before we continue, I know reading the backup, you know, you allude to delinquent, allude to other things, other remedies that can be sought also. But I think before we do that, I think we owe a very thorough explanation to the citizens of that development and even to the citizens of Calexico, as they have been residents at one point, you know, and probably they moved out or other things happen. So I would like to propose also to schedule to have the consultant, you know, at a later date, you know, where we can have a really good conversation, and a lot of them are here, and they will direct their questions and concerns and even their, you know, other things, other feelings that you guys have. But as you heard, and you have been part of this, I mean, we really need to get the experts and the ones that have been working on this, and how we can come up with some potential options to try to find a solution to this, because if not, you know, this will continue to be the same and it will only get worse. I know I've gone to your subdivision, and there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And you're part of Calexico, but it looks that, you know, sometimes, you know, it looks that area is forgotten, you know, based on just the appearance. So, and I'm being honest and transparent as always. But I think, you know, anything or every question that you might have, this council is not going to have an answer, and maybe not even staff right now, but, we can just, search for put together a comprehensive workshop. And I know we're talking about workshops, but I don't even think that has been done. And look at all the options, because I know that you have some recommendations here on this report that we need to be looking at that. And I think for the longest part, we only just kind of like approve. And I understand, we don't want to take the hit from the general fund. And, we can come and showboat right here, as it has been done, but we're all part of this. We were all, doing other things that, it was okay back then, but now that you're on the other side, it's not. So, but anyway, let's propose a town hall. Let's bring the experts. Let's have a really open communication with some potential, not potential, but some options that I think that have not been put on the table for all of you that reside in that subdivision. But I don't know if there are any other.
Yeah, if I may. So we have a project that initially was designed for so many homes, and there were only half of those were built. According to the project, Hearthstone, so many homes were going to be built. According to that money, so many services, or I guess so many services. But we're not recouping the money, and we're never going to recoup it. So hypothetically speaking, even when we have all this, we're not going to be able to fulfill all that, because you're missing half of the other money from the other, because they weren't built, if I understand it. Wow, this is going to be a big challenge, because you're not going to be able to fill that bond obligation. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see obviously what the citizens that live there have to say, because they've been impacted by this over the years. They are going to catch up in your payments. Wow, because only half of those homes were built. I may venture to say maybe is there somebody out there willing to take the lien, some developer, somebody who's wealthy, deep pockets, buy the whole problem, fix it, and repair it, because those people were promised. I think it's a community center, a park, including the street. That street that takes you back there, that was just in the meantime street, not even lighting, nothing there. So this is a huge problem that is going to require, like the mayor said, a town hall meeting, but more importantly, the experts, right? To really, I think last time we had the meeting we had, somebody was up here and somebody mentioned that the map, there's many versions of a map, but we didn't even know what map we have. I don't know, maybe Mayor, maybe the county, somebody from the county can come out some light on us on that, probably.
And for that,
yeah, so.
We need to really make sure that we have a very engaged conversation by the experts, by having options and having the input. So I know this is not something that offers a solution now, but I think at least retaking the conversation that hasn't happened. It's just every day. I mean, every year we just take this, and I appreciate the work that goes into this.
I do want to mention this has to go through the county before August.
Correct.
So they have to present it next month.
Yeah, we don't collect it, so they do.
And as you mentioned, it is a third party. I don't know their availability or if they're willing to come to the city or do it by Zoom. I would need to contact them and see their availability of when they could present
And
this.
we can work that out. I'm not saying that it should happen in the next two weeks, but I know that at least having that on our agenda, that's something that I want to see, and we want to see, and the community wants to see.
I would like to put a time frame on it, because we do have residents in the community who's been waiting. So if we could organize a town hall or a workshop for this CFD and this subdivision sometime in July, after you coordinate with the consultants, if they can come here, but sometime in July, so we can have that workshop open to the public. And we need to hear their questions so that we can convey them as well.
Just work on it, keep us abreast as to how you're progressing and securing someone too. come to this council. So, okay. Anybody else, any comments?
You know, I do concur. I mean, the workshop would be really, the town hall meeting. I can just imagine the majority that lives in that area, correct? What you guys are gonna say. The stuff that's written here, we don't have, the houses and, I know Mr. Hinojosa came up here last week and he talked about that and well understood. So definitely that town hall. And that you answered that question, by when do we need to pay that $1 million? And you said by August, right? So we.
No, by August, we have to present the resolution if it's approved for the county to be able to collect the funds.
Okay, all right. Well, the sooner the better. Yes.
So the fees are going to be collected of almost $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
and then where does that money go to?
It goes to the county.
And then we get it back, right?
Through the taxes.
To
and
pay
then they
for.
send this to us so we can pay the bond.
So, do we have any public comments?
Ramón Cornejo.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Ramón Cornejo, residente de Calexico, La Joya Palms. Vengo de nuevo, sé que son nuevos miembros, pero este problema, como bien lo dicen, ya lo tenemos mucho tiempo acarreando. Me gustó que mencionaron algunos de los problemas, como el que menciona que nada más tenemos una sola entrada y salida. En caso de emergencia, no, pues estaríamos en problemas, ¿no? Aunado a eso, como bien lo decían, de que la estructura fue para una población mucho mayor. Y no sé si sea manera de propuesta, pero yo no miro nada, ¿cómo se dice? Que toda la gente lo pueda ver. Tenemos una deuda, el CFD, eso me queda claro, pero no me queda claro cuál es la deuda por cada uno de los residentes y si todos estamos pagando. Porque si bien es cierto, como menciona, es $1 millón lo que se debe, pero se están recolectando cerca de $328,000, ni siquiera la mitad de la población que está viviendo ahí se está recaudando. Entonces, ¿dónde falta el dinero? Recuerdo que en una ocasión pasada mencioné, sabes que yo tengo preocupación porque yo estoy haciendo mis pagos, pero ¿quién no me quita de la cabeza que más adelante alguien llegue y me quiera quitar mi casa, aunque haya hecho todos mis pagos, por todo esto que está sucediendo? Entonces, yo agradecería mucho que se le diera una solución y que hubiera más transparencia. Si me dijeran, sabes que yo nunca he dicho que no voy a pagar, ¿cuánto es lo que debo? Para ver la manera en la cual yo puedo pagar. Pero me gustaría que fuera transparente y que fuera para todos. Que todo el mundo mirara cuál es la deuda y lo que se tiene que pagar para poder responder de la misma manera. Agradezco todo el apoyo que nos puedan dar. Gracias.
Next speaker is Diana Noricumbo.
Glasses, 18 years ago, a developer presented a beautiful project consisting of 457 homes, a luxurious entrance, and a recreational center and park. The developer didn't have the full financing in place, so it asked the city to issue bonds for $14.7 million to be used for capital improvements and impact fees. The city agreed that the buyers of these homes would bear the cost of paying these bonds, even though the project was only in its initial phase. Going forward to today, the members of our community are left with a debt that was issued on 457 homes when only 246 were built. That means we overpaid the school district by twice that amount. We overpaid the city of Calexico by twice the fees that were due. Will the district give us our money back? I doubt it. Will the city give us our money back? I doubt it. So now we're here today for the approval of this resolution. Our community must pay close to $140,000 every year for public safety, on top of our 1% being paid with property taxes. However, CFD revenues are restricted and can only be used in relation to our community, and only as long as the services provided are at a level greater than before the CFDs, and this is coming from the State Treasurer's Office. So how is this justified? We don't have a substation, and we all know our police is short-staffed, so we're not paying for a greater level of service. We're making up for the city's shortfalls. So aside from double-dipping on public safety fees, the developer is delinquent in $254,000 in CFDs. Have you initiated foreclosure? because we can use those proceeds from those properties to help repay the bond. So here are my questions. What are you going to do to help our community for having thrown us under the bus 18 years ago? We are there, we are paying the CFDs, we are saving this city from its mistake. We didn't leave the homes abandoned. They would have become vandalized, you would have had hundreds of squatters, you would have had to put out fires and investigate criminal activities there. So why then are we being ignored? Because we don't complain? Why then can't you look over our way and build our main street? I'm talking about the same road that is depicted in this map in your annual report. A road that does not exist. Just last week, you approved to repair Scaroni Road. Why that road? Why not our road, where we have 246 homes? It makes no sense. So, with that said, our community has approximately 1,000 registered voters, and we are united. There's an election this November for all 5 of these seats. We will not just sit back silent anymore. We pay our bills, we expect results, and we will support only those that support us. Thank you.
Jose Hinojosa.
Good evening, Jose Hinojosa, 1056 F. Torres Street, Hearthstone Community. At a prior council meeting on June 5th, 2024, this same item was on the consent agenda, and as a Hearthstone property owner, I made several public comments outlining numerous issues involving diversion of funds, and lack of financial controls. The City of Calexico should discuss this issue with the appointed Financial Advisory Commission, as it was discussed on our last meeting. We have over 247 homeowners and the potential to develop another 200 plus units, more housing in this tax district. We need to resolve this issue in a formal manner, including community outreach and working with the Calexico Unified School District. We as the property owners have spent many hours discussing this with prior city councils for over 18 years. With zero results and zero research. This city should be held accountable to the residents and this debt, and we deserve full transparency on this debt. Not to contradict anybody, but if you go to page 5 of what I just gave you, these are the requisitions from the county. This is exactly what we collect. This is 1 year, 360,000. So we're not making the debt payment. The city does not put in extra monies to make the $1 million payment. If you go on page 4, you see that the debt payment and the principal payments. Every year our debt is increasing because we're not paying for it. We can't afford it. And this boat, this is not for the CFD. This is for the special tax on top of the CFD. So this boat is not to collect the tax per square foot that we pay. This is for $691 that is paid extra. That special tax was supposed to be used for our community, for our recreational family recreational center, and our green areas, which is outlined in the resolution in front on page 1. And this is the original resolution that the city of Calexico voted on, resolution 0257. So I highly encourage this council to postpone and table this item. You know, our debt has been increasing, so there is no risk of any negative credit rating on this, because it's already in the red. It's been in red for almost 18 years. We've never been able to make full payments on this bond. Every year the debt is increasing, and we're never going to be paying it. So in 2036, when this ends, we're going to owe more than what is here. And those homes, are we going to be foreclosed even though we pay for our CFD? So I think we need to sit down and have the experts, have the lawyers, have counsel that we're paying for every year to advise us, to advise this council, to advise the community, to advise the homeowners. What are we going to do? So I highly, would like for you guys to consider our request, table this item, and have a full town hall meeting with the community and the experts, the lawyers that we pay for. I mean, if they're not available, we need to look for new ones that that can take on this challenge. Thank you.
Next speaker, Lorena Minor Montes.
Good evening, everyone. For years, I have advocated kind of in silence for my community because of fear of retaliation. I consider myself a self-proclaimed expert on the CFDs. Cobble and Groover is the current administrator, and he's not the first the company's not the first administrator the city has. It's the second, I believe. Many topics were brought up. Attempt to foreclosure was said. Half of the development, they haven't paid taxes in at least 5 years. So why hasn't the city done anything to foreclose? Now, what we're doing here tonight, in my opinion, is a formality that happens every year to pay the county to come back to the city. It's a formality that has to be done, I understand. Like my neighbors say, something that we have to continue to pay. A few years ago, there was a fire on Andrade Avenue between Andrade and Spud Moreno. The streets were closed, and there was no way in or no way out for hours because the car was on fire and they had to remove it. That's one. Another thing is on May 15, 2009, there was a punch list of 91 items that was created by Robert Ortiz, who was the engineering inspector. He made recommendations, 91 recommendations, and they were all very small that could be done with city employees, curbs and gutters, handicap ramps, etc., parts of sidewalks to be repaired. So after that, in 2011, when the city had McDougall, Love, and I can't say it, the old attorney that we had, the city recuperated some money. It was $1 million that was to be used on this punch list. I can attest that some items were fixed, but maybe about 10 items, not even on the punch list. So what I would recommend is, this is just a recommendation, the city has the power to stop this levy and collect a different way. Just like they said, it's an undeveloped development community. The development doesn't have a certificate of occupancy for the whole in itself. So the city is in violation. I personally live there. I'm not moving because this is one of the last places that my mother visited as my home. My mom approved for me to live in this house, and that's a memory that I cherish, and I'm not going to move. Plus, there's no other construction in Calexico. Where else are they building? Nowhere. I understand it's not your fault because this is something that's been going on for 18 years, 19 years, but we've come to different councils. We continue to pay the service. So we ask you to please just not table it and do something about it. I want to thank the Public Works Department because sometimes they'll come by and clean, all along Andrade, but sometimes the shrubs are so high. During the pandemic, I would walk to Walmart through the street that we're supposed to have, La Jolla Palms. There's encampments, there's tumbleweeds. It's no man's land. Nobody owns that land. You can go into the parcel book and see they haven't paid taxes in 5, 6, those would belong to the developer. Take the city attorney and maybe rematen la propiedad. You know, it's like collect a different way. Don't try and collect from the citizens anymore. You know, my kids want to walk to Circle K, the sidewalk's not complete. I mean, I can go on and speak but those are just some recommendations as a self-proclaimed expert in CFDs.
Thank you.
Jose Vargas.
Good evening, all. As you heard of the problems we have there, there is options to redrawn the CFD, restructure the CFD. There's only 2 phases out of 4 that were completed. So why are we encumbered in all 4 phases when there's only 2 completed? That's the option. There's little bit over $3 million that the county treasury has. That money that belonged to the school district, but they were not impacted fully because only 2 phases were built. Should have used that money to restructure the CFD, and we can only be encumbered on what is built. Aside from that, our La Jolla Pond Boulevard is not finished. It's a dump, our family recreational center as well. ID is requesting the city to pay their fair share and the developers to abandon the beach canal, which that is a problem. And that's stopping the whole project to be developed. And no developers is going to go and try to invest when they have to pay, the abandonment of the beach canal. They want to tear off all the American Canal on Cloak Road, ID, but they want their fair share. The city needs to look into that. You have to have a fiduciary responsibility to continue to complete the project. You guys the city's been on default since September 2019. Well, there is already been said. And the U.S. Bank, who is the trustee of the bondholder, they're not doing anything. They don't care. They should have foreclosed on us by now because you're not paying. You need to look into that and really focus on that because it's 18 years since the 2005-1 was formed and the $50 million bond was floated. It's been a long time. It's frustrating to see our dump there as La Jolla Pond Boulevard and our family recreation center. And to me, this is a criminal case. Conspiracy to commit fraud and racketeering, including the state for not putting any guarantees on the Melrose, the county for keeping our money, the city for not being in compliance, for not doing anything about it. But yeah, they're taking our money, and we don't pay, we get foreclosed. And the city should stop doing the delinquency removals deals for people who's not paying their CFD, because it affects us all. And you did an agreement with Martin Coyne to finish the second phase, and he didn't pay his CFDs. That's another problem we're encumbered with. To me, this is a criminal case. Like I said, conspiracy to commit fraud and racketeering. If you guys don't do anything, I wish I could throw you in the dungeons.
Thank you.
Leticia Cota.
Leticia Cota, 417 Rosemont, and I'm sorry you guys are going through that. And I'm surprised. I have a few friends of mine that live in that area. And the only thing that I have to say, there we go again. The city messes up, and I know somebody said you weren't there, but remember, whoever's there pays the piper. You guys are responsible. You guys have to do something for these people because it isn't fair that they have to pay what somebody else owes. That's ludicrous. And I agree with what one of them said about having a town hall meeting to address these issues, because I'm sure there's many more people. I know that my friends are out of town and they're not here. But I wasn't even aware that this was an issue on the calendar until just now that I returned. So guys, you need to get your act together. Unfortunately, you got rid of the golden goose that could have helped you. So now you guys need to have Mr. Contreras get on the ball, pick up the ball and start running and find some funds to pay that debt that's owed by someone else, because I don't think it's fair for them to have to pay it. Thank you.
Any other comments? So, do I have a motion to approve the levy of this tax?
So the question is, we're binded by, are we legally binded, Mr. Attorney? I mean, it seems like they were saying that this has been it's like a ceremonial thing, we have to do it. I mean, are we legally binded?
Yeah, it's there again, I don't know the specifics of this one. It is a pretty routine kind of a deal, but I don't know that you need to do it tonight. I mean, we've got until early August to get it to the county, right? So we could try to come back with talk to the consultant, come back with some more information before you act on it.
Right, so
But
perhaps
it's a big problem, right?
Right.
And it's not gonna go away in the next few weeks, so just be prepared to probably approve this one, because if the city doesn't, then it's in default under its obligations, which could fall back on the city too. So we need to have someone look into it and make sure, but I'm guessing there's no urgency to act tonight.
So it's approve it in lieu of having a town hall meeting and strategize how we're gonna, because it's gonna come up again. It comes up every year, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just, yeah.
Right, well, we could continue it tonight and bring it back next Wednesday and have some more information.
I would make a motion that, yeah.
What's your motion?
Bring it up Monday. Table it, bring it up Monday? Or, what am I, no.
The next meeting.
Next meeting, right. Yeah.
So what specific do you want to get, so that way staff can
Well,
work on it?
could you do it by next city council meeting? Bring in all the, no?
Well, the next city council meeting will be the special meeting for the adoption of the budget, or you want it in the first meeting in July?
Right.
When it's a regular meeting.
Right, because that'll give enough time for gather everybody, the backgrounds, the citizens.
And then I would have to check with the third-party provider as well, when it would be
Right.
feasible for them, either at the special meeting or the first meeting of July.
Right, so it would be the first ever time we ever do this, actually, so I would make a motion on that.
To table it?
Yeah.
For the first regular meeting?
Right. Yes.
So do I have a second?
We second it.
Mayor Camilo Garcia.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Javier Moreno.
Yes.
Councilmember Gloria Romo.
Wants to repeat it. To table.
Motion is to table this item, Ms. Romo. Councilmember Victor Legaspi.
Yes, to table.
Councilmember Lisa Thailenda.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
So now we're going to go back to closed session again, so.